Last week we made this macrame dandelion flower, so today, as promised, we're going to be making this macrame dandelion puff. Before we start, I would like to point out that unlike my macrame dandelion flower tutorial, this dandelion puff isn't as easy. We will be tying 3 trickier knots that may require practice. But don't worry, I will break down each step for you so that even if you are a beginner, you will be able to make your very own macrame dandelion puff. Don't forget to take a screenshot of the pattern details so you can refer back to it later. Also, if you make this pattern, I would love to see. Tag me on Instagram and I'll give you a shout out on my highlight reel. Now let's get started. For the stem, I'm going to be using braided cotton cord, but if you have single strand cotton, it will work just as fine. The very first knot we're going to tie is called a monkey fist, and this is the hardest part of this entire tutorial. So to make a monkey fist, you're going to take your cord and you're going to wrap it around your fingers 3 times. Double check to make sure that you have 3 cords in the front and in the back. Next, take your cord and you're going to slide it in through the center of our bundle. Once you have it positioned just right, what you want to do is slide your bundle off of your hand. Then pinch the middle as if we were about to make a bow. And what you want to do is you want to wrap your long cord around the center 3 times. And you want to wrap it kind of snug but not too tight. Wrapping it just with the right tension is going to help save you a lot of time in the end. Okay, so double check that you have 3 wraps around the front and then also 3 in the back. With that same long cord, what you want to do is thread it right through the top loop of your bow. Then send that same cord through the bottom loops of your bow. And then you're going to repeat this again, going through the top loop and then back down through the bottom loops. And you're going to repeat this until you have 3 loops on both sides of our monkey fist. And again, as you're wrapping this, make sure that you're wrapping it a little bit snug. Okay, so I have 3 on both sides. So now what we need to do is we need to get rid of the slack. We're going to start tugging on both sides and it's going to start eliminating the slack. So we're going to start tugging the first cord here at the top. Next, we're going to go back down to the bottom and tighten that up. This is why it was important to make sure that you had the correct tension. If you tied it too tight, then you're going to have a hard time pulling your cords. But if you tie it too loose, then you're going to have to start tightening up the whole thing, which is a whole lot of effort. A monkey fist is actually a very nautical knot. I live on the west coast of Canada, and during one of my craft fairs that I attend, an old sailor came up to me, and what he told me is that a monkey fist is used for sailing when they want to throw rope to another ship. I guess the monkey fist makes it easier for them to swing the rope around and throw it at a greater distance. I don't know, I thought that was quite interesting. Okay, put your monkey fist off to the side and we're going to get out our wooden skewer. These are just regular cooking skewers that you can go ahead and get at any dollar store. You're also going to need your hot glue gun and your monkey fist. Put a generous amount of hot glue on the pointy end of your wooden skewer. And then very carefully what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stab it right through the center of our monkey fist. Hold it in place for just a second until it dries, and then we're going to add a little bit more hot glue so that we can fold our ends of our monkey fist down. Once secure, snip off the excess of your monkey fist and toss that away. Then we're going to hot glue the end of our long 60-inch cord onto our monkey fist right at the base, and we're going to start working our way all the way down our wooden skewer. I like to add only a little bit of hot glue at a time because it dries very quickly. I'm taking very care to hide the seam of the starting point of our wrap here, but you don't have to be too perfect about it because we will be hiding it underneath our dandelion seeds. Once you get down to the end, you want to snip off your excess cord and then seal it with a little bit more hot glue. And that is how you make the stem portion of our dandelion puff. For our seeds, you can use cotton cord, but I really find that it's best to use a synthetic cord so that you can melt the ends with a flame. So to make our seeds, I'm not going to bother cutting out 25 pieces at 15 inches. I'm going to work right off of the spool. So what we're going to tie here is a barrel knot. So make a loop, and then with your short tail end that's on your left, you want to wrap that through the loop 5 times. And it's okay if it looks a little messy. If it's not messy, then you're probably not doing it right. Okay, once you've wrapped it through your loop 5 times, you want to take both ends and pull it really tight. That is so satisfying to do. And your barrel knot should end up looking something like this. Next, snip off the end close to your barrel knot, leaving about a 1/2 centimeter in length. You're going to need that 1/2 centimeter length because we're going to melt it later on. Okay, so that's the first one done. We're going to do the second one again together in real time. And then we're going to carry on making, oh gosh, I guess 23 more left to go. By the time you're done tying all 25 barrel knots, you are going to become a master at them. Okay, so now I have 10, 20, and well, technically 26. We're supposed to have 25, but evidently I can't count. But anyways, next we're going to make these little fluffy bits at the end. So grab your really long strand of butcher's twine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it onto my board here because it's just easy to work off of the board. I'll leave a link in the description box where I got my board and some of the other items that I'm using in this tutorial. Instead of manually measuring out 25 of our 5-inch strands of butcher's twine, I'm just going to wind it around my hand and then give it a little snip. This saves so much time and is so much easier. Okay, now that you have all your 25 pieces at 5 inches, we're going to take each strand and we're going to tie it onto our long strand here using just a regular overhand knot. And don't double it. Make sure that this is just a regular single overhand knot. Okay, so grab the next one and you're going to space it just about 1.5 inches to 2 inches further down and tie another one. We're going to repeat this as needed until they're all on there. Once all 25 strands are on there, we're going to cut right in between each one. This is what's going to be those little fluffy bits at the top of our dandelion puff. All right, now we got our big pile of mess. We're going to go ahead and set that aside until we need it later. Okay, so grab our seeds that we had put off to the side earlier, as well as our 25 strands of butcher's twine cut at 15 inches in length. Grab one strand, and what you want to do is have the short tail end on the left and the long tail end on the right. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie a vertical double half-hitch knot. Make a loop on your right with your long tail end and wrap the long tail end around and through the loop. That is half of your vertical double half-hitch knot. So to complete it, to make it a secure knot, you want to repeat the same thing. So make a loop on your right, wrap your long tail end around and through the loop. Then cinch up the slack. And then what you want to do is you want to push your knot all the way up to the top, right at the base of our seed. So we're going to be tying 7 vertical double half-hitch knots, but we're going to alternate them. All right, so we're going to do the next knot and we're going to alternate. So grab the same cord and you want to go back in the opposite direction. So move your cord over to the other side, and this time we're going to make a loop on the left. Wrap your tail end around and through the loop. That is half of your vertical double half-hitch knot. To complete your knot, you want to repeat the same thing. So make a loop on your left, wrap your tail end around and through the loop. And as you can see, I tied around the white cord as well because I'm trying to hide my ends. Okay, so now we need to go back in the other direction. So bring our long cord back over to the other side, and we're going to make a loop on our right, wrap our tail end around and through the loop, and repeat. The key thing about tying these knots to form these seeds is that you really want to tie your vertical double half-hitch knots taut, and you want to squish them up towards the top near your seed. The reason for this is because it really helps retain its structure so you don't have a floppy dandelion. Because that doesn't sound pleasant. Anyways, after I've tied 3 knots around that short little tail end of our white cord, I went ahead and snipped that off. And then I'm going to continue tying our knots until we have a total of 7 alternating vertical double half-hitch knots. Once all 7 are on there, you should have something that looks like this. And yes, we're going to go ahead and do this with all 25 of our seeds, or 26 in my case because I can't count. This is the most time-consuming part of our project. And ta-da, now we have all 25, or 26 in my case, all done. Next, we're going to attach our little fluffy fringe at the end of our seed. So get one of them and place it down in an X. Make sure you have your lighter and one of your seeds and your scissors handy. And what we're going to do is we're going to snip off our brown cord, leaving about 1/2 centimeter. Then we're going to take our lighter and we're going to melt the end down, and be careful not to catch the cotton cord. And you have to work quickly here. Once you have it melted, you want to place it right down in the center of our X, and it will fuse right onto our cotton cord. Snip off the excess of your cotton fringe, and then once it's at a length that you like, we're going to go ahead and comb it out using our fine-tooth comb. Now, if you're not using brown synthetic cord, you're using cotton instead, you can use a little bit of hot glue to glue down our little fluffy end. But keep in mind though, too much glue and you're going to have a floppy dandelion. Okay, this is the best part of this entire project. Grab your dandelion stem that you had worked at the very start of our project and get all your seeds and your lighter handy. We're going to fuse our seed right onto our monkey fist, but if you're not using synthetic cord, you can go ahead and use hot glue for this as well. Okay, so grab your seed and your lighter and we're going to go ahead and melt the end. And this is why we left that 1/2 centimeter when we were tying our barrel knots. Okay, so working very quickly, you want to go ahead and press it onto our monkey fist, holding it in place for just a moment. This melting and fusing technique I really find makes it stand upright way better than using hot glue. Plus, in my opinion, it is definitely a lot more fun. Alrighty, so we're going to carry on and melt and fuse our seeds onto our stem. Try to fuse them around evenly, and I like to start at the top and work my way down towards the base of our monkey fist. This part is so satisfying and my favorite part of this entire project. And once I have them all on there, I like to give it a little fluff and a little spin to make sure that everything is perfectly even. If you haven't seen my macrame dandelion flower tutorial, I'll leave the link to that video on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.